Gymnastics, a sport that demands perfection, where often a thousandth of a point determines a champion. A sport that requires expertly controlled and timed explosions of effort that produce tricks and routines that look graceful and fluid. It's a sport that takes tremendous strength and creativity. From the World Cup Gymnastics Championships in Brussels, Belgium, an international field of the world's best gymnasts will meet in the final and most prestigious invitational competition of the season. All today on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport.
There's the flag. And there it goes. It's a good start.
Looks okay. Nice, good jump. Very strong guy. Oh, he nailed it.
The thrill of victory.
And down the stretch they come.
He's gonna win. He's gonna win.
The 116th run for the Roses goes to Unbridled with jockey Craig Brett.
You wanted the Kentucky Derby. Oh, Winter, I love you.
And the agony of defeat.
Look out! Look at him go!
Oh, baby. What a terrible fall.
The human drama of athletic competition.
And touching first is Jager, and he has broken his world record.
In our 30th year, this is ABC's Wide World of Sports.
From TV1 in New York, here's your host, Frank Gifford.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the special edition of Wide World of Sports. Later in our show, we'll bring you the World Cup Gymnastics Championships featuring the men's all-around competition. Then from St. Moritz, Switzerland, we'll report on all the fun and tradition.
Mackel has been Sports continues. Once again, your host, Frank Gifford.
We'll return for the conclusion of the Bud Light Ironman Triathlon later in our show. But right now, let's go to Brussels for the World Cup Gymnastics Championships. Our commentators on the scene, Donna De Verona and Bart Connor.
It's 1,000 years old. Brussels, Belgium is a fascinating place. Known for its chocolate, it also offers other delights. Beer, anyone? There are 300 varieties. Steamed mussels are a specialty. This is a city of contrasts. Ancient Gothic cathedrals seem frozen in time in a city that's fast becoming the economic capital of Europe. On the horizon looms a legacy of the 1958 World's Fair, a symbol of the atomic age, a reminder of the Cold War. Perhaps thawed over the years through international sports. Welcome to the Sports Exhibition Hall in Brussels, Belgium for the World Cup Gymnastics Championships. Today, the men's all-around. Hello, I'm Donna De Verona, and athletes from all over the world love to come here because it's by invitation only. With us, Olympic gold medalist Bart Connor.
And Donna, one of the interesting things about this competition, as you mentioned, it's invitation only. The way the athletes get here is there's a series of World Cup qualifiers throughout the world this past year. Each country, based on how well they do in those qualifiers, has a chance to invite their two best athletes. It's an individual competition only.
And in the all-around, the Soviet Union has dominated world championship competition, winning every single title since 1978. So this event is theirs for the taking.
And it seems like every time we show up at a major world meet, we talk about how the Soviets are favored. Today is no exception. Vitaly Sherbo and Valery Belenki are two fine Soviets. They're best of friends, but they'll be intense rivals today.
Well, who can challenge them?
I think perhaps the Chinese is the only team that has the opportunity to challenge the Soviets in terms of difficulty, but most importantly in terms of technique and execution. They're led by Li Jing.
And how about America's only entry, Lance Ringnauld?
This type of format actually plays into the hands of Lance very nicely. He has plenty of difficulty in his routines. Certainly he'll gain the attention from the judges because of that. He'll need to be very clean and stick all of his landings if he hopes to finish among the top group. What's interesting once again, though, this is a Soviet competition to win. They come here not only to win the gold medal, but to take the sport of gymnastics to new levels. We'll see new techniques, new combinations, and new skills today.
In the all-around, the men will compete on 6 different apparatus in 6 rotations. So far, 2 rotations have already taken place, and as expected, Soviet gymnasts Valery Belenki and Vitaly Sherbo are leading the way, with Sherbo out in front.
Only in his first big year of international competition, Vitaly Sherbo opened with a powerful floor exercise. The 18-year-old from Minsk was the winner of 4 golds, including the all-around gold medal at the Goodwill Games. His daring moves always grab the attention of the judges. Sherbo's best friend and teammate, Valery Belenki, demonstrated awesome power on the still rings. This 21-year-old from Baku, Azerbaijan, was the winner of 6 medals at the Goodwill Games, his trademark perfect form and execution. From China, Li Jing, last year's bronze medalist at the World Championships, slashed through his pommel horse routine. The 20-year-old recently led a Chinese sweep of the Asian Games, winning the all-around gold. And the USA's most experienced, Lance Ringnold, unfortunately got off to a rough start, first on the pommel horse, and then here on the rings where he had trouble struggling with his strength move.
So after 2 rotations, Vitaly Sherbo leads, but by only 25 1/1000ths of a point. American Lance Ringnold is in 17th place. Sherbo was introduced to the sport at age of 7 by his mother. Both his parents are acrobatic trainers in the Soviet Union, a prominent sport in that country.
Sherbo has a really interesting move in the middle of his routine, something I've never really seen before, at least not on purpose. You'll see he's going to cross the rings and get all tangled up and then untangle himself and lock it in a handstand. Really interesting stuff. He opens with his strength sequence. Straight arm, straight body, press to handstand. Look at the power. Okay, now here comes his combination. He twists the rings, goes back through with a dislocate, twists them again, and freezes it in a handstand. It's unusual to see that kind of originality on rings because generally the gymnasts are only facing one direction. Rarely do you see them turn and face the other direction. Clean dismount.
Bart, earlier in the competition, we asked Sherbo why he did such a unique routine, and he said because nobody else does it.
And this is so typical of the Soviets. They come to the competition to introduce new elements. This move looks a little bit like a puppet being swung around by the strings. The difficult part is squaring back up and freezing that handstand without any movement.
His score, a solid 9.8. Up next, currently in a tie with Valerie Belinkie, China's Li Jing.
Now, Li Jing is one of the first male gymnasts to perform this vault. It's the Yurchenko vault, taken from Natalia Yurchenko of the Soviet women's team. Watch how complex this vault is.
And Li Jing had tremendous height. And Bart, women have been using this vault for nearly 10 years. Why are the men suddenly using it?
Well, this style was just basically an extension of a similar technique used to mount the balance beam for the women. Notice the round off onto the board, the back handspring onto the horse, and look at the height in the air. The men realize that this technique opens the door for potentially more difficult and daring vaults. Maybe we finally just wised up.
His score, a 9.750.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
Highlights of these Winter Classics showcase 3 decades of televised sports history. Call 1-800-4-ABC-VCR to own the best of ABC's Wide World of Sports. Now on collectible cassettes each decade for only $19.98 plus $3 shipping and handling. Call 1-800-4-ABC-VCR.
Come on along.
Jim, for the World Cup Gymnastics Championships, the men are in the 3rd rotation. Up on the still rings, Italy's European champion in this event, Yuri Keiki. He was 6th after the 2nd rotation.
There's a few specific requirements that Keiki has to perform in the still rings competition. He has to show the judges a swing to a handstand, as well as a strength to a handstand, and 2 other strength moves. There's an original sequence at the beginning. Up to handstand. Now here's his first strength move, the inverted iron cross. Second one, a Maltese cross, and the third one, a bounce to iron cross. Tremendous strength. Keiki's strength is really very deceiving. He's only 5'4" and 128 pounds, but that's really the world-class gymnast body style. There's the swing to handstand, a back giant swing. And here comes a big dismount. And he rocks that landing.
Yuri Keiki obviously taking pride in his work on the rings with a strong and controlled performance. And you can see why he's been a finalist in every major competition in the last 4 years. A great performance, but the favorites here are these 2, Soviets Valerie Belinkie and Vitaly Sherbo. They are rivals and yet best friends, even though they live some 1,500 miles apart. Vitaly Sherbo lives in the industrial capital city of Belarusia, Minsk, hometown of the great Olga Korbut. Located near the Polish border, it's a city of ethnic diversity. And at times of the year like this one, temperatures can drop as low as 30 below. Vitaly's teammate, Valerie Belinkie, lives in the capital city of Baku, Azerbaijan, on the Caspian Sea. A region fiercely and violently seeking independence from the Soviet Union and subject to ethnic clashes. Earlier in an interview, Valery Belinky said the turmoil has had little impact on his life. Gymnastics has been his escape. And now, up on the parallel bars and currently tied for second, Valery needs a 9.85 to take the lead.
Belinky's routine is what we call a very big routine. He does plenty of big tricks, but it's the way he does them. They're a little wild, and he really hangs them out there. That's impressive to the judges. Notice the lift on the bar here, the giant swing. That's an underbar requirement, one of the things the judges are looking for. And look at the power on that giant glide kick. That's basically an A move, one of the easier moves you can do, but it's the way he does it that's so impressive. Little hop there on that handstand. That'll be a 1/10 of a point. And a little rush on the dismount. When we talk about bigness in a parallel bar routine, look at the power on that move. Big swing through the bottom, and one of his trademarks, of course, is the perfect form and extension throughout. But you can see here he gets in a little trouble on this handstand, and here on the back toss he's over, so he has to hop his hands underneath him to regain balance, and that caused trouble on the dismount.
And that hop obviously cost him sole possession of the lead. His score, a 9.825. And by the way, Yuri Keiki scored a 9.9 on the rings. So after 3 rotations, Scherbo and Belinky are tied for the lead, followed by China's Li Jing and Italy's Yuri Keiki.
Over the last 40 years, men's gymnastics has been dominated by 2 countries. The Soviets won all 6 world and Olympic all-around titles between 52 and 62. Then after a decade of Japanese excellence, the Soviets have reestablished their dominance, winning 10 of 11 all-around gold medals. Will it continue through the 90s? I think so.
Is brought to you by the Milford Plaza, one of New York's finest hotels.
Coming up, the 4th of 6 rotations in the men's all-around competition. In a sport where judges look for originality, new techniques are always being developed.
Vaulting styles have changed dramatically over the last few years, and to give you an idea just how complex the new vaults are, let's first of all take a look at the traditional style of vaulting. This is a typical vaulting horse and a springboard combination. Now what a gymnast will do is run down full blast at this baby, and let me tell you, this thing is solid. Hit this springboard and go over the horse. Easy enough, right?
Gets a good, strong, powerful run.
Oh, good heavens! Oh! I have never seen a vaulter take a shot like that.
I'll tell you, he's hurt. He is hurt.
Oh, my.
That was a pretty bad crash, and luckily for Brian Meeker of the U.S. national team, he was okay. Good for him also that it wasn't an international competition where the horses are chained down. Now, this new style of vaulting invented by Natalia Yurchenko from the Soviet women's team is even more complex. Here's what happens. The gymnasts are going to run down in the same fashion, full blast towards the horse, but right before they get to the horse, they do a round off, and now they're going to go over the horse backwards at full speed, and not to mention do 1.5 flips and maybe 1 or 2 more twists. Pretty wild stuff, huh?
Boy, you're not kidding, Bart. And now the co-leader, Vitaly Scherbo, will perform a Yurchenko vault.
Scherbo used this vault at the Goodwill Games this past summer, scored a perfect 10. He's going to do the Yurchenko with 2 twists. Watch for both twists. There they are. Once again, the style and the technique of this vault really allows the gymnast to get more height and more distance and twist the 2 twists very easily. Here's the round off onto the board, back over the horse. Look at the position in the air, and he just drops out of the sky.
His score, a 9.90. Up next, China's Li Jing, currently in 3rd place. This is his